Well, welcome back. We're going to start with lesson number 1, and you can find first in stage 1B. Let's open up here. Lessons 1, 2, and 3, the PDF files for the lesson template. And if we go back to stage 2, the lesson activities, each folder has the lesson tools to them. So if we click on to lesson 1, you'll have the PowerPoint for Earth Day and Environmentalism, the Quizlet for Earth Day vocabulary, flashcards embedded into Schoology, the in-class assignment for Whose Garden Was This?, which includes the lyrics and some questions, which are also in the PowerPoint, which I'll show momentarily. The Earth Day and Whose Garden Was This vocab crossword puzzle that uses the vocabulary from Quizlet. And then in this folder, you have homework, which are the flipped classroom activities, which I used Edpuzzle for to talk about the layers of the rainforest and why biodiversity is so important. And those will be the videos and questions that will begin lesson 2 as discussion questions, as warm-up questions. So let's get started. Let's open up the lesson plan. We'll go into description of the lesson plan and lesson 1. So here's my scenario, which I described in the introduction. So the rationale behind these lessons is to provide supplemental and supportive materials and activities to promote positive and interactive learning experiences with the assistance of technological tools. I do use the revised English curriculum of 2013 for the Ministry of Education in the State of Israel. The target audience is once again 35 ninth graders enrolled at Tehon Hadash in the advanced 5-point per group course. Yet again, it's a very heterogeneous group depending on comfort level, and they come from different middle schools, so they all have a wide variety of cans and cannots, and the whole point to these lessons is to get them feeling more comfortable discussing and reflecting and really making them comfortable using those higher order thinking skills. So if we look over here, the unit lesson placement. So this lesson will be the point of departure for the first unit of the textbook in Imagine, called The Amazing Amazon. The lesson will provide students with the history of Earth Day and elicit responses regarding the importance of environmentalism using visuals, reflection questions, and music. The assigned vocabulary for part 1 of the unit has been integrated into the website Quizlet, which students will be shown how to implement as a study tool. The standards that I'm using, the content standards, are access to information, using a wide variety of oral and written texts, and printed and digital media. Social interaction, the students will engage in conversations about, in this particular case, environmentalism and Earth Day. And the hot skill for this lesson is making inferences. They're going to infer implicit meaning from the text by being able to read between the lines. So lesson outcomes, students will be able to compare and contrast images, giving detailed descriptions and providing their own interpretation to meaning. Brainstorm both pros and cons of global issues and discuss their ideas and opinions in an open format in the classroom. Acquire appropriate vocabulary on the theme of environmentalism using an interactive tech tool featuring a variety of activities, that being Quizlet. Infer from the lyrics of a song the role of a songwriter. He's playing a character in the song, Whose Garden Was This? And I want the students to think about what type of character is he playing. Is he playing a young child? Is he playing an older man? And also thinking about what this song does to predict the future. And then demonstrate understanding of audiovisual media or responding to questions that emphasize both lower and higher order thinking skills. So next, prior knowledge prerequisites. Since this is the initial lesson for the unit, The Amazing Amazon, there really is no required knowledge from the text, since this is the first unit. However, if students have a general awareness of environmental issues such as deforestation and pollution, of course, they will have some benefit in discussing these issues in the target language. Pedagogical considerations, learning modalities, really focusing on audio and visual, but also tactile since we're using mobile devices. Formative and summative assessments. Students will be asked to consider the pros and cons of industrialization at the beginning of the lesson, take vocabulary quizzes on Quizlet, and will respond to questions for the flipped classroom videos that will start the class for next lesson. So it's a check for understanding. It's a bit of a recycled ongoing assessment, check for understanding. Learning styles, among the multiple intelligences mentioned by Howard Gardner, those that are emphasized in this lesson are visual spatial, musical, interpersonal, and intrapersonal, as well as verbal, linguistic, and naturalistic. So let's look at the procedures and activities. The time allotted for this lesson is 90 minutes. I taught a double period, and then 40 minutes is suggested for the amount of homework that is given. So they will have a warm-up. Students will compare and contrast two images of Manhattan. The first image is what Manhattan would have looked like before it was a city, while the second one is what it looks like today, and they will reflect and write answers to the following questions in their journal. Do they recognize the populated American city? What is their opinion of what they see? Is it an example of human progress or paradise lost? So, quotations from books in order for them to think about their opinions and their perspectives on this concept of progress. And here's the PowerPoint. So here we've got what the students will actually see: human progress or natural disaster. And this is going to be done in a think, pair, share fashion, and should overall take about 15 minutes for them to complete. Next, there'll be a brainstorming chart. So students as a whole class will think about and propose 5 pros and 5 cons on human development and industrialization, which the teacher or student can write on the board as the PowerPoint presentation will be projected on the whiteboard. So I would be able to write down the students' thoughts, or students can volunteer to write their thoughts. You can think of different ways in which the students can share their ideas. I like it when students work in groups and then they elect a voice, the person who's going to speak for the whole group, or to go to the board and write their answers. So there's a multitude of ways to conduct that part of the lesson. It should take about 5 minutes, but could go on to 10 depending on the student's interest level. And this is in the PowerPoint itself what the slide would look like. So brainstorm possible pros and cons of human development and industrialization. So they list the pros or advantages, cons or disadvantages, and I like to use more than one word to describe a concept, just so that students have, again, a variety of words that they can then access and use when they speak. Then the teacher will go over the new vocabulary presented on the slide, which is also on page 8 of Imagine. Students can take turns reading if they choose the words after the teacher in order to increase the familiarity with the pronunciation, and that can take about 5 minutes. And here are the words. So you have billion, destroy, earth, environment, etc. Just practicing, rehearsing the vocabulary. And then afterwards, we teach the students how to use Quizlet. So they can log on to Quizlet using their smartphone. I have the link, which is a hyperlink right here. And then they can use the flashcards to write the definitions next to the words in their notebooks. And then they need to explore 2 other study tools, whether that's the Learn tool, the Speller tool, or the test. And that's individually. And then with the partner, they can select one of the 2 games to play. They'll have time to also use Quizlet as a tool as part of their homework. But this is number 1, familiarizing themselves with the vocabulary, using different tools to help them acquire these new words, and also helping them learn to use the tool themselves. Next, they'll have the Earth Day passage. Students will guess what Earth Day is. It's question 1 on the PowerPoint, but it's also on page 8 of the Imagine textbook. So they can refer to the textbook, but also have the visual in the PowerPoint. And they can work on their own or with a partner. And then we can look at the text as a class on PowerPoint and then answer the following questions. Why is Earth Day important? And then think of 3 ways we can celebrate Earth Day and what it looks like on the PowerPoint. So here, the first question you have, what do you think Earth Day is? Read and find out. I'll have students brainstorm and then call out their answers. The first time that they encounter the reading, they can read it in the text on their own, and then students can take turns if they want, or popcorn read, or whatever is comfortable for those students. I've divided the text into 3 separate slides based on paragraph 1, 2, and 3. And I try to choose visuals that really convey the meaning of the particular paragraph, just so that the students have not just the words themselves, but a visual that they can associate with it to further their understanding of the text. And so that should take about 5 to 10 minutes, probably more 10. Then we've got the song Whose Garden Was This by Tom Paxton. Students will completely listen to the song while reading the lyrics twice. So they'll listen to the song more than once, then complete comprehension questions. Time will be allotted for students to think, pair, and then share with their partner and with the class. And if you have the hyperlink to the video, which includes the song, but if we take a look here, in the lesson activities and lesson 1 tools, you can see that the assignment is here, so you can view it. And it has the lyrics as well as the comprehension questions and the inferential question, which is accessing those higher order thinking skills. And that is also located here in the PowerPoint. So if I were to expand this, if it will expand, here we go. Open, open, open. There we go. You'll have the video, the direct link to the YouTube, if it opens. It's rather slow.
This is a song for the planet, Earth, which needs all the songs it can get.
So once they hear the song, they'll answer the questions, which are also featured in page 8 of Imagine, Exercise C. And then the inferential questions: reflect, write, and discuss. Who is the songwriter you're speaking to? Do you think the songwriter is someone who is younger or older? What vision of the future does this song describe? And then explain why. Then for their homework, they will study the new vocabulary using their notebook and tools on Quizlet, then take the vocabulary test, and then complete the crossword puzzle for Earth Day and Whose Garden Was This? And then watch Edpuzzle videos 1, Layers of the Rainforest, and 2, Why is Biodiversity So Important? And complete the questions, which will be the focus of discussion for tomorrow. So if you go back into the Lesson 1 tools, we'll see that we have the Whose Garden Was This? And Earth Day vocab crossword puzzle, which we can view here. So students will have the opportunity to complete this. You'll of course have to download it because for some reason it doesn't show the actual puzzle here. Let's open it up here this way. Open, open, open. And so this is it right here. And then on the next screencast, I'll show you the homework assignment, which are the flipped classroom activities, which segue into lesson 2.